Helen Yee here with Eyes on the Game. I'm here at Raw Talent Boxing, being joined by the always lovely Ashlee Evans-Smith, the now flyweight, right? You're making your second fight in the flyweight division coming up February 17th. But before I get to talking to you about your fight against Andrea Lee, I saw you yesterday at the fights UFC 232. What did you think?
Yeah, we ran into each other. Actually, we were sitting, you were sitting media table and I was sitting the next row, which was nice. Yeah, I was telling you earlier before we got on camera, it was such an amazing card. I can't even put my finger on one card that stood out. Obviously, if I had to, it'd probably be the Nunes Cyborg. I don't even want to call it an upset because I feel like that takes away from Nunez's talent and skill, but upset in the sense that I don't think anybody thought it was going to end or go that way.
In less than a minute.
Yeah, 51 seconds. Woo, that is a statement. And yeah, super happy for Amanda. I think she's a great champ, very humble. Yeah, and definitely been a friend to me in the past, and I'm very happy for her. But the other fights, you know, the undercard, Curtis Millender, Uriah Hall, like those fights were amazing. I didn't get to see them, but I heard about them. I got there a little late, and then I think I was I got to see the Megan Anderson and the Kat Zingano fight.
What did you make of that, and also the stoppage?
So another fight that I definitely did not see going that way, and I think it's heartbreaking for Kat to have to lose that way because, you know, I think probably in her heart she felt like, you know, it just, you know, she could fight, or not that she could still fight, but you don't want to lose a fight by toe in the eye or whatever the exact, you know, I don't know, it was like you know, she scratched, but I mean, it's not like she poked her with her finger, so I get it, but yeah, the stoppage, it's good stoppage, you know, that's not like the ref was wrong or didn't do his job. It's just one of those freak situations. I think back when I think it was Jake Ellenberger got his toe caught in the cage, or somebody.
Oh, yes, yes.
Was it
I
Ellenberger?
think it was Ellenberger.
But you're like
yeah.
these freak weird things that you're like, okay, well, it's not like the opponent cheated, and you got to stop the fight, and you lose, and you're like, I didn't know that was an option. I didn't know I could lose that way. So feel sad for Kat, but Megan herself, you know, is an amazing fighter, and I actually picked her as on my picks to win the fight. So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah.
Do you think that Kat should get a rematch with her?
Yes, without a doubt. I mean, I think like in the fight, it was like, oh, Kat threw a low kick, Kat threw a low kick, Megan threw a high kick. Kat threw a high kick, Megan threw a high kick, and it's over. And I was like, oh, what's so, you know, like you want to see more. You want to see at least one round of what these women can do, because I think they're both capable of so much more, and they put so many hours in the gym training not to get to showcase that. You know, it sucks. I'm sure Megan loves the W, but I think she's a true fighter, and she wants to show the world what she can do. Yes. And to perform is nice, you know. A first round win is great, but when you get to go back and look at 3 rounds of your work and your art, it's nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, very well said, you know, and bring the word art into it. But also, I do know something that Megan has said. She wants to bring more attention and awareness to the featherweight division. Obviously, I know you don't fight, you know, in featherweight right now, but what do you make of that? And do you think it is possible for the women's featherweight division to grow? And now that Amanda Nunes is the 2-division world champion?
Yeah, I mean, it's always possible for divisions to grow. I think it's about marketing them correctly, you know, adding the right people. It's a lot to do with the organization, I think. So if the organization puts money or effort into building that division, I think it will grow. But also, I think, like we were saying with the men's flyweight, if they don't see potential in it, then they can take it away or not put money into promoting that division. So I think a lot of the responsibility is on the organization. But yeah, kudos. I mean, obviously Megan is in that division, so she wants her division to grow. But I have faith in that division as well, because there are a lot. I used to fight at 145 before I, you know, put the veggie burger down and realized I'm better at a lower weight. But yeah, I know there's a lot of talented women out there, and obviously, you know, the sport in general and the women's side of it is growing every day. Yes. So there's hope.
Yes, and like we all witnessed yesterday, you know, Amanda Nunes creating history, which is why I kind of want to bring some attention, because I mean that is such an incredible feat, and to see where women's MMA has come, you know. But what do you make of, for example, first off, how far women's MMA has come, and what should be next for Amanda?
Man, that's well, for the first part of the question, how far women's MMA has come, I feel very fortunate because I'm not like a pioneer, but you know, definitely, I mean, I started doing this, we started fighting when women weren't in the UFC, so I've been in the game for a minute now, and I'm just so happy that we have the opportunities and more weight classes, you know. Since I've been in the UFC, we've added, you know, 2 extra weight classes, and who knows, maybe there'll be a third, because it seems to just come out of nowhere, like, oh, they're adding a new weight class, and then obviously that's given me personally more opportunity, because I could go I could fight at 125, or maybe I could go fight back at 135. So now I have more potential opponents, more chances to make money. Yeah, so that's amazing. You know, I always give kudos to Ronda. You know, whether you love her or whether you hate her, she did amazing things for the sport, and women's MMA specifically, obviously. But yeah, and the second part of the question, Amanda, oh man, like she just fought the most the most dangerous. Weird, yeah. I think it's the baddest bitch on the planet, you know, basically like, okay, yeah. You just knocked out the baddest bitch on the planet. What do you do now? We're gonna take a vacation, I guess. I don't know. You look for more competition, because I know, like I said about Megan, like if you're a true fighter, you just want to fight and you want to perform. And I think she deserves a vacation and a break and some time to relax. Win or lose, it's always good to go back, look at the drawing board, and get better. But there's not a lot of film for her to, you know, work on. So I don't know what she's gonna do. I think she's I don't know, I think she's got a really, really bright future, and I don't even think she's still in her 20s. I hate saying that because sometimes women get offended, but even in her
20 or early 30s.
Yeah, so she's still pretty young, you know. It's like she could, and I think if you see like her fights a couple years ago, she's just getting better and better and better. It's not like she's plateauing or just like, oh, that's what she does. Like, oh, her striking's getting better. You know, she's getting more explosive, more powerful. So who knows? I don't know.
and also even looking at her resume, you know, beating the Miesha Tates, like we said, Ronda Rousey, to Chris Cyborg, and so many others, Valentina Shevchenko, the now UFC women's flyweight champion. But again, before I get to talking to you about that, last thing about Amanda, just because yesterday there was, it kind of angered Dana White or upset him a little bit in the post-fight press conference, where this reporter, Darren Ravel, said that, you know, Amanda Nunes basically, you know, has knocked out and beat the most quote unquote like marketable female fighters, Ronda Rousey and Chris Cyborg, kind of stating that, in his words, that she's not basically as marketable per the numbers, and that kind of upset Dana. But what are your thoughts in terms of her marketability?
Yeah, I think that reporter is a dumbass. I mean, I think you have to know who you're marketing to. I think Amanda is a great, you know, candidate for just promoting the LGBTQ community in general. And, you know, her English may not be the best, you know. I always think like, man, like I feel bad for Cyborg or her, because, you know, I know they want to connect with, you know, the world, but sometimes there's that language barrier. But, you know, maybe the UFC helps invest in some Rosetta Stone and help her a little bit with her, you know what I mean? But I think she has potential. You just have to market to the right people. And I think she inspires me, and I'm not part of the LGBTQ community. You know, I'm not Brazilian. It's like, I think she's a great candidate. I think she's super marketable. And I think just anyone who's in the spotlight, who's on the top level, who's doing what they should do, who is a clean athlete, who, you know, is sportsmanlike, you know, they're a great representation of the sport. Maybe she's not like a cover girl, you know, she's more got the tomboy look, but, you know, it's hard because this isn't a beauty contest, you know, and that's, you know, she's probably got, you know, to be the champ that she is now, because she's focused on things that are more important than doing her makeup, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I don't know, that's sad. And I think that definitely is something that is unfortunate to hear. Like, she's not as marketable. Well, she's still amazing, and she's still great for the sport. So, yeah, I don't know about that one.
And there are so many like fans in Brazil, you know, and looking at like Jose Aldo, someone who didn't really speak as much, you know, English. He was very marketable in that sense to Brazil and whatnot.
Yeah, and I mean it's great to have champions or top level, you know, fighters from other countries. You know, the world becomes more involved, not just the United States or not just one country. Now we're, you know, this international sport, and so, you know, what if we had a whole just, you know, top level, just all American fighters? I mean, you know, I think it really connects everybody to have a, you know, multicultural or even as diverse as Amanda. You know, like I said, the LGBTQ community. If I feel, yeah, you know, I want to support. If I knew of like a vegan fighter that was a champ, you know, since I'm vegan, like I'm like, oh, go vegan fighter, you know, you're relatable. But yeah, I think Amanda's great.
Yeah, no, and very well deserved and very well said as well. But like I said, your fight coming up February 17th, a lot going on in the flyweight division. Now we do have the new champion in Valentina Shevchenko. She beat Joanna. What did you make of that fight?
Oh, man, yeah, I watched that fight with my friend, and you know, that definitely went close to how I thought it would go, but not as, I definitely didn't think Valentina was going to be as dominating against Joanna. So I was super impressed, and she's just very, very, very accurate as well. So powerful and skilled, but like with her, I was most impressed with her accuracy. Those spinning side kicks, I was like, oh, right on the money, you know. But yeah, that was an amazing performance, and her as a fighter, you know, you can't deny that she's just, you know, right now, like one of the best. Well, she obviously the best in you know, my division, you know. So yeah, I think I don't know what else I could say about her that hasn't already been said. You know, she's very well rounded. Another person who is, I think, very marketable in the sense that she, and don't quote me on this, but like Peru and Russia, or, you know, she's lived all over, and I think, you know, she speaks many languages, and so she can connect with different, you know, niche markets in that sense too.
Yeah. But your fight against Andrea Lee, you were initially supposed to fight her Valentina's sister, Antonina, in November, and then you tore your knee, or?
Yeah. So what happened was a couple weeks into camp, I hurt my knee. It was a partial tear of my LCL, and this was actually the first time that I ever had to make the decision to go into the fight injured or to pull out from the fight, because you hear about that, you know, and I've been very, knock on wood, very fortunate to not have to make that decision. And with the weight cut and everything that the doctor was telling me that I needed to do for recovery, it was one of the decisions that I'm happy that I made in hindsight, you know, for longevity of my career, but also my life, you know, my body. You only get one body. That sounds really hippie-like, but, you know, I don't want to be broken and beat up in my later years, you know? And plus, what if I went in there and I lost because of some low kick to the knee, and then, you know, that's not the fighter that I am, you know? I want to go in there and I want to show my entire skill set to the world, because, you know, they deserve a good fight, and I deserve, you know, the opportunity to put on a good fight. So it hurt me, you know, to pull out financially too, but it was a good decision. And then we got this fight with,
First Lauren Murphy, right?
What you see how happened was they booked me on the February 17th card against Lauren Murphy, who was, or I think is, ranked number 8. And I was very, very excited to fight Lauren. I've met her in person a few times, been very nice to me. It's always nice to fight someone who you know isn't an asshole. I don't know why. It's just that whole like trash talking thing. It doesn't bother me, like, get in my head, but it's like, what are you doing? Like, you know, like, I don't know. So I was looking forward to fighting her, not because of that, like, that's just kind of like a perk, you know, but I thought, all right, it goes back and forth between 10 and 11. I don't even know, like, on the other day was 10, and then someone posted something on 11. I'm like, whatever. But she's 8, you know, so it's nice to always fight above. To move up. You know, we always want to continue to fight people higher than us so we can, you know, get closer to the title shot. And then she, unfortunately, I don't know what the cause of her injury was. I think it was an old injury that had started acting up, and she made the the decision to pull out like I had to, unfortunately, but I mean, probably it's better for her. And she actually contacted me. I actually contacted her first, and I said, sorry about your injury. Nice. I don't know. It's I was just like, hey, heal up, And then she responded with, yeah, basically like, sorry about that, but she said, you're a tough opponent. I don't want to fight you on one foot. And I'm like, oh, that's nice too to say. Yeah. So, but then like a couple days later, I got Andrea KGB Lee, and she is ranked 13, and so not as high of a ranking opponent, but still a good fight. We talked off camera about maybe a little higher profile fight, which a lot of people have said that to me. They say, oh, that's a better fight for you. I'm like, wouldn't a better fight be someone higher in the division so that I can move up? But I think they mean that Andrea is getting a lot of hype, maybe because her style and she's a pretty girl and stuff like that. So I'll take whoever, but yeah, if it's a higher profile, it's a higher profile, and it's still a payday, and it's still a fight, still an opportunity to get into the cage and perform and, show my art.
Yes. But what do you think of her style? I know her strengths, even though she is pretty well-rounded, but Muay Thai and kickboxing.
So it's a small MMA world, and, you always kind of like hear people give you their 2 cents in any, even if they're a couch potato, people feel like, oh, I'm going to tell you about you should like do, yeah, go for the head kick. And it's like, have you ever thrown a head kick in your life? But then vice versa, there's people in the scene that actually know what they're talking about. And I've been approached by quite a few people that have either trained with her in the past or, been around her. And it seems like, yeah, she's known for her striking, but me and my coaches and teammates are very confident that we can outstrike her and that we will be more well-rounded on the ground. Not to underestimate her in any sense, but she's someone who's comfortable on her back. But I feel like a lot of times people, they get too comfortable on their back, and it's an MMA fight, and I don't think you should ever be comfortable on your back inside the cage when someone's trying to punch your face off. But yeah, I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not worried. We're training, the game plan. We're training smart, babying, the injuries. I'm all healed up now, but you still kind of have to be cautious, 100%. Because you push your body so hard. But yeah.
But what of her weaknesses, though, do you hope to capitalize on once you're in there?
Like I said, I feel like she's a on her back type of fighter, and sometimes I think it was Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali. Mike Tyson, I forget. One of the greats said, everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the face.
Oh, yeah, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, okay. Yeah. So it's like, all right, you're comfortable on your back. Well, how comfortable are you when I'm punching you in the face? Yeah. But I think that will be somewhere that I dominate. Unfortunately, I have made mistakes in the past, and I paid for them with losses, specifically my fight against Sarah Cheesecake Morris. I got armbarred, and that was me getting overwhelmed and excited in the moment in her guard, and that's a mistake I will not make again. And that's basically, in my opinion, the only way that Andrea would beat me. I'm gonna be, I feel like she's quick, she's smart, she's a good striker, but I'm better in that sense, without sounding cocky or like putting her down. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a great fight because she's flashy, and I don't know if I would consider myself a flashy fighter, but I find myself learning more and more techniques that make me a creative and interesting fighter. And specifically my last fight, I feel comfortable now throwing spinning shit, as Nick Diaz would say, and things like that. And then, there's always, I have my wrestling in my back pocket. So, I feel like people can always watch me and go, ooh, is she going to take her down or is she going to kick her in the face? Who knows?
And so as far as like coaches in your camp, are you bringing anyone new in for this one, or is everything about the same?
Yeah, good question. This last couple of fights, I've actually had ever-changing corners, unfortunately, just because sometimes coaches have other fighters that they have to go corner in different countries, and you want that comfortability, that familiarity, sometimes. Like, example, I had Carla Esparza, my best friend, in my corner, and I'm not even sure if she said one word, but like just to look over and be like, you got this,
like the mind reading.
Excuse me. But yeah, so this time I'm going to have Tyler Wombles, who is my Muay Thai coach, who is, cornered me in the past, and we have great coach and athlete chemistry. Raw Talent Boxing's Chewy Gutierrez, and he has cornered me my last fight in New York. And then I will now be bringing in Kenny Johnson of Black House. And I just started going to Black House a couple months ago. It's been back and forth because of an injury. You know, I'm in, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out. But great coach and athlete chemistry. His technique is elite, top level. That's my background already, you know, so it's not like it's really hard to learn these techniques, you know. It's most of the time it's just you get this coach and he just tweaks these little things that make a world of difference. True. And that's what Kenny does. And so we're not reinventing the wheel. He's sharpening things up and, you know, giving his input on what he thinks is going to be the best game plan against KGB. And yeah, so I got those 3 corners, and then obviously I have my friends and people that come out and support me. And since it's not a million miles away like Germany or something, it's in Arizona, people can fly out, you know, support me. So I got a really good set of corners and good support system.
So will you still be back at your other gyms, or you don't go there anymore?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't have technically, I would say, like a home gym. Yeah. You know, like I had a home gym for 5 years. I was at Subfighter MMA with Adam Lin before I switched over to Team Oyama, and I was there for a short time. We only had 2 fights together, and I just made the decision to switch because of a couple different reasons. And now I guess I like to say it's like a gypsy fight camp, but it's not really a gypsy fight camp because I have that implies that I'm just going wherever, you know. But I have different gyms. I don't have like one MMA gym that I go to, you know, Black House for wrestling, Classic Fight Team for Muay Thai. I got my boxing gym. And that's not to say, you know, and then I do 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
So you're still there too?
Yeah. And so it's weird because they're like, oh, what gym are you at? I'm like, well, where do I start? But, and it's can be exhausting sometimes traveling here and there. But once you get your schedule down, and Orange County, everything's about, to me, 15, 20 minutes away, except for Blackouts, it's about 45 sometimes. But I don't mind that. And then that makes it sound like I'm not getting MMA in, you know, because you drill and you train all these different disciplines, but you got to put it together. So at Black House, we do MMA sparring. At Classic, we'll do Muay Thai sparring, then we'll throw on the little gloves, you know, and all my other teammates, they're not just Muay Thai fighters there, they're also MMA fighters. We'll do some MMA rounds. And so it worked out for my last camp. It's working out for this. And
so last camp you did the same. Yeah. Oh, with the Beck Rowling. So it's almost like putting pieces to the puzzle, like everyone's a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah. And unfortunately, with the Beck fight, during that camp, I didn't train, if any, jiu-jitsu grappling because I was babying a knee injury as well. And I made the decision to not train as much grappling so that I could for sure take the fight. But I mean, there wasn't a lot of grappling in the fight, so I guess it paid off. But now add in Black House, and it feels like every little piece of the puzzle has come together, and I'm not neglecting any part, from strength and conditioning, cardio, you know, everything. I know it sounds like I'm going in a million different places, but if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. And to make everything whole and 100%. Yeah. But like you said, you are going into this fight 100%, and this is your second fight at Flyweight. How, you know, is the weight cut and everything going? I know when I talked to you before the Beck fight, you said that you felt good and you felt great in there. So how's, you know, this one going?
Yeah, we talked a little bit off camera, like I said, and I'm always very candid. Sometimes people are like, oh, don't say that. You don't want to give your opponent the edge. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, no matter what, on fight day, that cage is closing and we're fighting. It doesn't matter what I've gone through mentally, emotionally, physically, I'm still going to bring it that day. So, but to be honest and candid, I, you know, had to come off of the injury. And then I was telling you that I'm still fighting pneumonia right now. And it's a weird thing where it's like, you got to be smart and not push your body too much, but I still got to train because I got a fight coming up. So that has been interesting, and unfortunately, I know it's affecting and going to affect the cut, you know, come February 16th on, you know, weight cut day. Ooh, I'm scared, not scared, but dreading it just because it's never fun. The last cut, you know, it wasn't fun, but it's all worth it in the end, you know, the payday and the W and all that. So I just, you know, I like Flyweight. I just, unfortunately, with the injury and the pneumonia and stuff, it's you know, definitely a little bit rougher of a cut this time, but like I said before, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
But would you say 6 weeks out right now compared to 6 weeks out for the Beck fight? Are you walking around that same weight or?
No, I'm gonna be honest. I'm heavier this time because I couldn't run because of the injury and with the pneumonia and all that. But like I feel like every day I'm getting a little bit better, and it's just back and forth with my doctor and I and all that. And as soon as I get better, I know how to lose the weight, and it's I'll make weight no matter what. I always say that, but I know I'm definitely not as light as I was, and it's gonna be a little bit of a rougher cut, but I'll get it done.
Yes, and because you're always professional, and like I said, still 6 weeks out. But after this fight, you did mention how with Lauren Murphy, she's ranked higher. I think in July, I don't know if you remember, but you did tell me you were kind of targeting Jessica Ai or Jessica Rose Clark. Are those still on your radar?
Excuse me. Yes. So I don't know if the viewers know this, that Andrea, and I feel like it's Andrea or Andrea? Yeah. Andrea. Okay. Sorry, girl. So Andrea was supposed to fight Jessie Jess, and I don't know exactly what happened, but Jessie Jess didn't fight because of the weight cut, and she had to go to the hospital is what I hear. I don't know exactly, but so I was looking forward to that fight because these are two girls, and then then I got matched up with Andrea. So I just feel like all these girls, it's like at any given time, depending on who wins who or who beats who, like we could fight each other at any minute. So, maybe Andrea was the one that, was out and I would have fought Jessie Jess, it could have easily gone that way. So yeah, I still want to fight Jessie Jess. I still would love to fight Jessica Ai. And these are not people that I'm calling you out, but it's like, these are high level girls in my division and I want to move up and I want to get to the belt. So, I think it's an honor to fight very skilled, fighters as opposed to cherry picking, oh, give me someone who's not even ranked just to pad my record and, make some money. So I'm not against money, but but yeah, I don't mind fighting a tougher fighter, but I want to fight higher and higher opponents, and I think Jessie Jess and Jessica Ai are like right neck and neck with each other. Yeah. Or I think I heard that Jessica Ai moved up a whole bunch the other day.
She did. I believe she's just right there for the title shot.
Yeah. Okay. So see, and I'm humble and very well aware that that's not something that not someone I'll fight, in the near future, unless, maybe she loses a fight and then I win my 2 back to back, something like that. But yeah, I definitely have to earn my stripes and work my way up.
Yeah, and that's good that, like you said, you're willing to climb that ladder. Lastly, for you, because, I know you're busy, you got to go, but it's almost the new year. Do you have any, goals and plans for this next year?
Okay, I know. I want to make a resolution because it's like, I got this thing I want to do, but I don't have like this one thing. Like I said actually on my social media the other day that I want to make it a point to do more charity, give back more. One of my favorite things to do, I work with an organization called Pro Sports MVP, and I've only got to do it once so far, but I can't wait to do it again. And what they do is they fly over different athletes, artists, just people, I guess, of notoriety or talent overseas to the soldiers. And me, Dennis Bermudez, Tom Lawler, and Diego Sanchez actually went over to Iraq and Afghanistan. It was less than a year. Oh, it was actually right before I fought Beck. I remember that. I remember thinking, like, I don't know if this is the right time to be taking 10 days off, but I had already committed. Yeah, and you know what? And it was so great because it was a great experience. I can talk an hour about how great the experience was, but also a really cool thing was after my fight, the soldiers made this video of them watching my fight against Beck, and then like doing this whole like cheering thing, and it was like, oh yay, I touched, they cared enough to watch the fight and support me and stuff. So I went over there to support them, and then they supported me, and I want to do more things like that. I like working with kids and kind of telling my like little hoodlum, bad kid story and letting kids know that there's more to life than what you're going through at that moment, and getting through life, and that things can be better. So that's my resolution, just to make time, for the sport, and do more of those things because we get so caught up with our own lives, training camp and whatever, and you make excuses. Well, I don't know if I can afford that right now or whatever, but there's no good time to do something that you're not, I guess, getting anything for. But yeah, but I mean, I am getting something out of it. Like I said, like I supported the troops and like what they sent me back, like I'm such a mushy mush, but I was just like, oh my God, it's so nice, Yeah, so that's, I guess, my resolution. And then as far as just the year in general, my goal is to fight 3 times next year. Okay. So obviously I'll have February and then, knock on wood, a couple months later and then a couple months later. Just because with my career, there's been some unfortunate events like injuries and sicknesses that have kept me from fighting as often as I would like to. And I know that everybody thinks, UFC fighters, we make $1 million and we fly around on our private jets, but that's not the case. So I'd like to fight more. For financial reasons to make my life a little bit more comfortable, but also just because staying active is better for me personally. There's the quote, the idle hands are the devil's work or something like that. Like, I don't know what it's like. Basically stay busy, because when you got a lot of free time, you can get in trouble. And so I'm just like, it's not so much the trouble I'm worried about, but like, okay, if I am always fighting and training, then maybe flyweight, that cut will be better. And I'm, staying in the gym and stuff like that. So fight 3 times next year, move on up, fight tough opponents, closer to the title, and just, enjoy life.
And all in flyweight, or would you want to move up to bantamweight if they have someone for you there?
I don't even want to say this because they might see this and be like, oh, we could call her now. But I mean, I definitely will fight at 35s. And that'd be like an easy cut now because I have, transitioned onto flyweight. But I feel like now if I fought at bantamweight instead of flyweight, I'm almost like it's like not as tough because I'm not, struggling as much, which is not the case. You don't always have to struggle, but yeah, I would fight at bantamweight still if it was like, the right thing, I mean, I wouldn't take a last minute fight for bantamweight because I'm at the point now where every fight counts and I want to, like I said, move on up and get closer to the title. But I don't know, like I've never said no to a fight, so I don't know. Maybe I would. So.
Yeah, you're always ready. And for your fans, what would you like to tell them?
You always ask that. I think I'm just like, thank you so much. But
because they love you.
I try to stay pretty connected to my fans and, respond to social media messages and give my advice and whatever. I actually did a live Instagram video right before you got here just because I was bored. And, it's just nice to just like stay in contact with them. And I don't have anything specific to say to them besides just thank you for supporting me. I know I don't maybe fight as often as like other fighters, but I feel like when I do fight, I'm entertaining and it's worth it. So just keep watching and I just want to say thank you, I guess, and keep following me and
And to a productive and busy 2019 starting February 17th against Andrea Lee. As always, I love catching up with you and always good to see you, whether it's at the fights or MMA awards. Always great, girl.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks so much.